anytime, anywhere. On Fire Radio.
Fire burning in my soul. Fire burning in my soul. Fire, fire, fire. Fire burning in my soul. Anytime, anywhere. Anytime, anywhere. Anytime, anywhere.
On Fire Radio. Anytime, anywhere.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations. This is Renaissance Friday. This is Renaissance Friday. Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations.
Well. Good evening to all the listeners out there this evening. Welcome to another week of Renaissance Friday right here on Marpe Assembly. Guys, I just want to say good evening to you all. I've seen that some of you are already online. I've seen Mary online. I've seen Richie O, Nana. Good evening. I've seen Sister Nadine, Sister Leanne, Sister Patricia, Sister Keisha. Good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us for another fully loaded show this evening. Go ahead, invite your friends, your family, let them know that we're here this evening.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting
right
nations.
over there from Marpe Assembly on live on here on the radio, or they can join us right over here on YouTube.
Touching
So go
lives,
ahead, share the link with
renewing
your friends,
minds,
your family, and
impacting
let them know
nations.
we're here. And they should not miss out this evening at all. We have got a very special guest with us this evening. So obviously, guys, we don't want you to miss out. Go ahead, share the link, tell your family and your friends that we're right here.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations.
So I've seen that you all out there online. Let me know whether or not you've shared the link, guys. Let me know whether or not you've shared the link. Let us know. We give God thanks for bringing us back here this evening also for another week of Renaissance Friday. So guys, share the link. Let me know that you've actually sharing the link. I've seen Sister Charlene just join us as well. I've seen Sister Jane. Good evening to you. Good evening to you. Good evening. A marvelous Friday to you guys. Absolutely. Guys, the show is going to be packed. It's going to be fluid this evening. So go ahead. Let your friends and your family know that they need to join us.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations.
On Fire Radio.
Fire burning in my soul. Fire burning in my soul. Fire,
Okay, guys. I've seen also that we've got Brother Chin online, we've got Anike, we've got Sister Wendy B, and we've also got Sister Irene online also.
On Fire Radio.
Fire burning in my soul. Fire burning in my soul. Fire, fire, fire. Fire burning in my soul. Anytime, anywhere. Anytime, anywhere.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations.
Okay, guys, I won't keep you waiting much long this evening. Obviously, we've got a guest with us this evening, very special guest. We've got a guest all the way. Well, I won't even go into that. I'll let my guest introduce herself to you. But this evening, we've got missionary Ilania with us live online this evening, and she'll be just sharing some of, what's been going on behind the scenes with her, telling us a bit about herself and stuff, guys. But here we go. I just want to say good evening to you, Sister Ilania. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sis Patricia.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share what God has done in my life.
Okay.
It's an honor.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. You're welcome indeed. You're welcome indeed. Well, obviously the listeners are there. They're online waiting. Welcome to you, Jean and Sister Irene, Sister Wendy Beach. Welcome to you also. Well, the listeners are there. Tell us a bit about yourself, Missionary Lania. Well, this is the first time I think we're having a missionary of such. It was actually gone on live mission, youth mission and all sorts. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I grew up in a Catholic church, but it was a nominal Catholic family.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go to church only on Sunday, and there was nothing more to life than just going on Sunday.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, it was just a casual thing, really. You go there because you believe you're taught stories in the Sunday school.
Mm-hmm.
Until one day when my parents' marriage broke down, and then all of a sudden I was actually in a crossroad.
Yeah.
Where I cried out to God for Him to make a way where there was no way.
Yeah.
My mom and dad's business had a bankrupt, and all of a sudden, we had actually no money where we can get to pay the guarantee for my mom's release because she was blackmailed. And
so your mom was a businesswoman?
She was.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the investigator said, if you don't pay this money, she's going to the women's prison, which is one of the scariest places back in Bulgaria. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
Yes, so on that day, I cried out to God. I was 13 years old, and I said, Lord, if you are real, if you exist, please make a way. Please provide this money for the guarantee, and I promise you that I will follow you until the rest of my life.
Yeah.
and the miracle happened.
Okay. So you
I
were
had
you were
a church.
practicing Catholic at this time, and you're crying out to
Yes, I
God,
was.
and you're
Yes.
asking God to do a miracle through this situation that's happening
Absolutely.
with your parents. Yeah.
It was amazing
Mhm.
experience when no human being can actually help you. All the people my mom has helped in so many ways, they were not actually available, willing to help, and we asked just a few of them, the closest ones, but
Mhm.
no one was actually willing to help at that time.
Yeah.
However, God had made a way where there was no way.
Mhm. So was your parents Christian? Well, Catholics as well.
Yes, they were.
Okay, so they were practicing Catholics as well. Okay, so and from there, so you've cried out
And
and
from
this
there-
miracle happened because you've already bargained. I think it sounds like a bargain with God, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, in a way, maybe.
Okay, so did you
I
know
think-
what? Did you know what that meant at the
Now
time?
that meant that he showed me how real he is, that he's a God who hears our prayers in the
Okay.
midst of the impossible situations, that
Mhm.
he's a God who's alive. He's not just a God who is a distant God.
Mhm.
He's a God of relationship, he's a God who opens doors.
Okay. And did you always believe this at that time? Were you believe
No.
such? So what led
I
you to
think-
pray? So why were you prompted to pray in that way? Because usually as Catholic, I don't think that would be the normal prayer. So what prompted you?
I think it was that despair, this desperation, really, for a miracle, for an answer from God.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my mom would have gone to a women's prison. She wouldn't have been vindicated for things, even for things that she was involved. That wasn't her fault, because she was forced to continue signing papers for which she didn't get money.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
just to say that every single court after my mom guarantee was paid was that she was vindicated, she was justified as innocent. And I said to my mom, we are going to pray and God is going to make a miracle. There won't be any issue with you going anywhere. This is the faith God put in my heart back in the time child.
Yeah. At 13. Wow. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's amazing. So what happened from there then? Did you continue
from there-
practicing as a Catholic, or what happened?
No, my grandma took me to Evangelical Pentecostal Church.
So this is your
Bulgaria.
mother's mom?
Mom,
Yeah.
yes. So she took me to Evangelical Pentecostal Church, and I started step by step giving my life to God. You know, having that walk of surrender and allowing Him to make me a different person.
Yes.
And I got baptized.
Okay. So when you went to that Pentecostal church, and when your grandmother took you there, what was the difference? What were your thoughts? What was going on at that point?
People were very friendly. They embraced me, particularly my pastor's daughters. They're wonderful people. They're just like a real family. You know, it's not like we're distant or we're some people there who are just doing church stuff.
So was it a
They're
quiet
really
church? Was it quiet? Because I know Pentecostal church, we can be quite noisy.
Yeah, so it was. I would say it was between charismatic and a bit charismatic, and at the same time was a church where they used to sing from those old
Okay.
songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't
Yeah.
one of those where you just emerge into this, full blown.
No,
Oh,
they,
okay.
they don't force you over there to do things, but you don't feel like you want to do them. If that makes sense.
Not that we do that at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going there, what was the experience then? So what transpired there?
They-
So your grandmother took you there, and what happened?
And then step by step, I surrendered my life to Jesus. I started reading my Bible. I was part of the worship team.
Okay.
Was part of a choir. I plugged myself into going to orphanage, an orphanage village which is in the north of Bulgaria with other friends from church, and we were doing we were working with those orphans over there for their development, psychological development, and as well we've tried to make friendships with them and to tell them more about Jesus.
Okay.
It was a wonderful, wonderful way of actually being salt and light, because some of these girls nowadays they're adults, and some of them they believe in God. So these seeds that you plant, you never know what will
Okay, so the orphanage that you went to, that you visited at that time, you're saying that some of those people, they're still Christians today.
Yes,
Okay.
they are.
Okay.
And we were doing some programs as well with the local orphanages in the capital. And this year I started a Bible study group with some of these women online, because they live in different locations all over the world. Some of them in the States, others elsewhere, and some of them are not. There's some of them who are not Christians. Or they invited not Christian friends. Yeah. So going forward, later on I started serving in the worship team, leading worship. God was developing also the gifts of knowledge, gifts of prophecy, and sometimes he will say to me, there are people, let's say the back bench of our church, the church is about 500 people or a bit more, especially in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And just give me a word of knowledge. And so he started teaching me actually how to use these gifts and make sure this comes from him, to hear his voice. Yeah, and I was on fire. We were having prayer meetings. I want to share this. I presume your church does similar things. Actually, I've seen that your church does it. But our church used to do, and I think they continue this good tradition. Once a month, they have a prayer meeting all night. They start midnight.
Okay.
And they start praying for each other, praying for the work of the church, praying for different needs, for healing, for deliverance.
Okay. Okay. It's interesting how your complete body language changed when you were when you just remembered that and wanted to share it, the all-night prayer. So now you've seen that we actually do that here, because I know you do join us online sometimes. So it's not new to you. It's not strange. Like, hang on, what are these people doing? So you understand where we're coming from.
Absolutely.
You're fully immersed into it. No, that's good. No, so continue.
Yeah, and later on, at the age of at the age of 20, I decided to. I prayed actually. I wanted to go to America in a worship school, but got shut all these doors, and all of a sudden, friends from Youth with a Mission, they said to me, "Oh, have you thought of joining our school, which is a discipleship training school?"
So that's
where
when. So
they-
that's that's Youth with a Mission. So that's an
Youth with a Mission,
organization.
that's
Youth with a
right.
Mission. Yeah.
Yes. And besides the discipleship training school, teaches you how to hear God's voice, teaches you about your identity in Christ, who you are in Christ, who is Christ in you. Teaches you about the God's heart for the world, how we can influence the different spheres of society.
Yeah.
And the motto of Youth with Mission is to know God and to make Him known.
Yes.
And when I prayed, I felt that God was actually calling me there. And the reason for this was at the age of 16, I was at a worship conference with a friend of mine in Bulgaria. And there God gave me a vision that I was among the nations worshiping with other people, and God was healing, delivering people.
Yeah.
And people were giving their life to Christ.
Wow.
So this was the vision that has driven things forward.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So going to Youth with a Mission was another miracle, because I said to Jesus, God, I don't have this money, so I don't know how you're going to provide for all of this. So there you've got to do a self-support. You have to raise up your own money. And
so at this point you're saying to the Lord, hang on, how am I gonna go on this mission without any money? Because it's quite obvious you're gonna need something to go. However, he said we shouldn't worry, should we? When we do go. Oh
yeah,
dear.
it was. And my mom said, from where you're going to find all this money? That's a lot of finances needed. I said, I'm going to pray and trust God that He will provide the money. And it happened. So my tuition fees for the theory part, which is 3 months, they were provided happen step by step. And then we went on an outreach phase in Kyrgyzstan. But before we
so your first mission following that training was in Kyrgyzstan. Yes. Okay, yeah.
That's right. So the discipleship training school has 2 phases. One is a theory part, 3 months, which was in Bulgaria, and we were people from 7-8 nations. And then we split up in different teams and we went to different locations. Yeah. Practicing what we learned during the theory phase. And I went to Turkey with a friend of mine from the school because she needed to review her visa. And over there, God spoke to me with that word. He said to Elizabeth and Zacharias, not to speak. I was like, okay, Lord,
he was muted.
Yeah, muted. I'm going to be quiet because I didn't have money for the airplane ticket.
Okay, and so he told you he's sending you somewhere else. He's sending you somewhere different at this point.
Yes, to Kyrgyzstan.
To Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, without money. Yes. Okay, yeah, go on. Yes. Yeah, continue.
And there when we went to Turkey, we were interceding for the nation. And a dream, that someone was giving me an envelope with money.
So this is in the dream that he showed it to you?
Yes.
After he gave you the so he gave you the instruction first, then he gave you the dream, showing you that someone was going to give you. Okay, yeah.
That's right, yeah. And amazingly, the next day, my friend is coming to the flat with an envelope. She had no idea about the dream, and she gave me this envelope. She said, "This is from the pastor's family, from the church we visited." And I was like, "This is absolutely like amazing. I have no words to explain the joy and to see God's faithfulness." And he asking what he has mentioned.
Yes.
And going forward, God said to me, "Wait until the last minute at the airport."
Wow. So
yes.
you're in a strange country already, because by this time you're not in your country, you're on this mission, and he's saying to you now, just pack your stuff and just wait at the airport in a strange country. Okay.
Yes. Obviously, our team was arriving from all the way from Bulgaria. And at this point, I remember the time during the theory part when I read a book of Lauren Cunningham, which
Lauren Cunningham. Yeah.
Yes, Cunningham, which is called To Live on the Edge.
To Live
And
on the
there he
Edge. Yes, that book, yeah.
And there he shares a story how God provided one airplane ticket.
Because he's a missionary as well, isn't it?
Yes, he was. He went to be with Jesus this year.
Yeah.
He was the one who had the vision of many ways, reaching the nation. So I thought, this will never happen to me.
So you've actually read that book?
Okay.
Okay.
And I thought this will never happen to me.
But it happened.
With sense of humor. Yes,
Wow.
Touch and
Wow.
Renewing
Isn't God amazing?
Impacting nations.
The way that he
Renaissance
does,
Friday.
because the way that he does things are completely different to how, and obviously you stepping out there, just by instruction of what he said to do in a strange country. But carry on.
And our team leader, he mentioned that one of our teachers, he's a doctor, though he was in prison in Iran for sharing the good news about Jesus while he was trying to treat people there.
Say that. So he's a doctor, and he was in prison where?
In Iran.
Okay, yeah, at that time.
So he came to speak at a discipleship training school, sharing his story that he was in prison in Iran. And his name is Dan Bauman. He has a book. I believe it's called In Prison in Iran, if I'm not wrong, or something to do with the love of God.
Yeah, and this is someone that was being prosecuted because of sharing the gospel.
Yes.
The gospel. Yeah.
And this teacher of ours, he had on his heart to bless us with the exact amount of money which we needed, because there were people who didn't have the full amount of money for their plane ticket. And at the airport, the team leader told us we received this blessing from Dan Bauman last night.
Wow.
And I just wanted to share this with you, that always prayed and waited for is here, the blessings here.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
God's faithfulness.
Indeed, because he said to go, and there was someone providing, and the envelope did arrive. Wow.
So that was the DTS phase, and we went to Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is not far away from China. And I was learning to communicate with some of the children. So we were serving in an orphanage, and also a place where children had mental disabilities or mental disease. And what I was doing in the orphanage is developing discussions about how we can become friends with Jesus on a level for those who are teenagers or children.
Yeah.
And that was translated by a friend of mine in Russian, but also I tried to communicate in Russian because that's the way you really create a bond with someone.
That connection.
And you're able to identify, yes. So we prayed for the director of the orphanage. She was open to to share more about her life. And it was a time of intercession as well, I would say, for this place, because some of the children were quite poor, I would say. Malnutrition, and some of them they didn't know what it means to have Jesus as a friend. What does it mean? What is God? We talk about to be our friend on practical terms.
Yeah.
So this is all about the DPS. Also, we were leading. We taught the children some dances, some worship songs in their language. Some joyful stuff.
Yeah.
And
So because you write songs, don't you?
Yes.
And in different language too. So talk us through, how did you learn these languages in school?
Not really. After the discipleship training school, I felt going to a school of worship, which was part of Youth with a Mission.
Yes.
And God opened a door for me to go to Brazil. And the way I discerned that this was the right place is by putting certain questions and saying, God, is that a place for me? These are the boxes that need to be ticked for me to know that this is the door you're open. And the responses I've got, they were taking out all the boxes. So it happened, and miraculously I got a provision for everything. I worked hard to raise up finances as well, etc. The lead God had was amazing, to see him actually taking me, firstly using me in my own country, and making this vision reality, and then taking me outside of the country to the nations.
So how did you communicate?
Renaissance Friday.
How did you communicate in these countries?
In these countries,
in the countries that you visited, how did you manage to communicate? How did you get these languages?
So I communicated mainly in English, but later on, when I went to Brazil, I started using my Spanish, which I studied at high school. And I picked up Brazilian Portuguese very quickly. I would say, for me, this is still a miracle, because Brazilian Portuguese isn't an easy language. Grammatically, it's a difficult language.
So you felt those were
Um,
miraculously given to you as added to. Okay.
Yes, and there at the school of worship, I was challenged by the YWAM leader
Mm-hmm.
there,
In what way?
and the way we had our sessions of creativity was like, think of an object or a metaphor of the word light and try to write down
Yeah.
words that that will come out of you, or try to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so and this is related to how God made the world.
Mm-hmm.
So basically expressing this in a metaphorical way,
Yeah.
and it's like I see a light that is penetrating the darkness or breaking the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
There is vision, or the path is enlightened. Words that are beautiful, and you can use many. That's not. It's more like speaking about Jesus in an indirect way.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I started writing poems, and then converted some of these poems into songs.
So you started off by writing poems.
Yes.
Okay, so we might be lucky, as the listeners online might be blessed to hear you recite a poem. You don't have to. We'll do a second part, so you can do it in the second part. I won't put you on the spot. Yeah. So you then converted those into songs.
Into songs, yes.
Okay.
And so one of my dreams is to create an album with some of my friends, some of the people who are professional musicians.
Hallelujah.
In fact, we were together in the school of worship there. They were staff during that time.
Wow.
And so the school of worship was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt so blessed. That God guided me there and not in any other place.
Yes.
Because it wasn't just normal worship songs that you will copy paste from somewhere. No, it was you actually even getting the sounds and creating a worship song from the sounds.
Wow.
Using the creativity, because God has made us to be creative, not to be copy paste individuals.
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful way of coming up also sometimes with melodies based on the psalms which David has written, and people using the instruments they play, and just improvising that. It all comes from the Holy Spirit, or to glorify God for who He is. Wow.
And you're still singing and stuff these days, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Right now, I'm not doing this anywhere.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I believe it is this season of life where I can pour out and write things, and then God willing, one day I will be able to,
getting the album ready.
Yes, that's right.
Wow. So the experiences, obviously you've gone to various different places and stuff, obviously teaching in different language and stuff that were given to you. In terms of relating the gospel to others, because yes, that's a part of that was your mission, to go into these places. Like, for example, you spoke about going into places like, per se, Brazil. What's the approach in comparison to, say, Kyrgyzstan?
It is a very different approach. So in Brazil, majority of the people they know about, they've heard about God. They hear on the television. They're just so familiar to hear about God. But what I think is lacking there is people to see this authentic faith, this genuine faith that comes out of your relationship with Jesus, and not just going to church, living out the life of Christ on daily basis. So the approach to people there was more, be yourself, show Christ through your attitude, your actions, and what you can do for others. So we were in Brazil. We were on local ground doing the theory part in the worship school. We were going to different churches, rehearsing, serving, blessing people, serving the local community. We're in schools as well, among children who have who come from social from families who have social problems. And the outreach base was in East Timor, which is on the other side of the globe, which is 2 hours away from Australia.
Okay.
East Timor has been colonized by the Portuguese and has been in a war with Indonesia. They were dependent from Indonesia. They suffered a lot. I don't know if this is one of the poorest nations right now.
So this is East Timor.
Yes, East Timor. But back in the time when I went there, we went to a village 10 hours away from the capital, Dili, where there was no water and electricity. And we were we were going to the houses of those people. They have no water, no electricity. Some of them, they don't know what it means to have education, or like to have your basic needs met, such as healthcare. And over there, we established the first school of worship. For the first time, they recorded songs in their native language, which is Tetum, and also in Bahasa. Bahasa as a language comes from Indonesia, but they speak Bahasa in East Timor. And when we did the school of worship, our team was leading worship in 4 languages: in English, Brazilian, Portuguese, Tetum, and Bahasa. So that was one of my challenges.
Wow.
With God's help, I managed. We had like the words all weekend, and we rehearsed a lot because my team lead actually lives in this country, and in the UK, and yes, they planted quite a few churches that are they're Brazilian churches, but he's such a man who's got really high standards when it comes to serving God. So he's making sure that everything is very efficient, and so we rehearse prior the service, prior the school starts and the services, and then we reached out to the students at the University of East Timor, and some of them became Christians. But over there, we were also persecuted. We were thrown in the jeep once on the way to a village where we went serving the youth.
So you guys were being stoned. So is that because they didn't want to hear the gospel? Why do you think?
I think it was more because they were in an insecure situation after the war with Indonesia.
Yeah.
and there was a person who was shot on our street, and we received a phone call from the Brazilian embassy saying that we need to be quiet, that all lights should be switched off, and just to make sure that there is peace in the whole base where we were standing, the Capitol Hill.
Because the people weren't welcoming of you guys?
There's a persecution there it used to be, I don't know right now, there used to be a persecution from the Catholics to the evangelical Christians.
Wow. So from the faith that you are coming from to now, you're being persecuted because you started off in Catholic. It's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
So you feel as if you're being persecuted by your own, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did that resolve itself?
It was a challenge over there, to be honest.
Yeah?
Especially living in a place without water and electricity for 14 days. We went to the wall to get water, and then...
Where would you go to get water? To the
well. We went
to the well. Okay.
Yes. 40 minutes. You go there to get water.
Wow.
And
you know, some communities that's normal, right? Like you've got to go and fetch water. You know, like for some of us that's quite normal. You've got to fetch water. Growing up, that is a thing. You've got to go and fill the drums or fill whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when it comes to Catholics, they can be quite close. If they know that you're evangelical Christian. Okay. But the evangelical Christian, they're very, I would say they're not like charismatic. They're kind of more traditional. People are very reserved over there. So if you're sharing something, if you try to identify with them, you obviously got to do it in an understanding way, so they can do the skill, but they can get what you mean in their cultural context. Oh, see, we actually met with one of the nephews of President Kennedy, American President Kennedy. Wow. And with America, we had lunch in the Warren Base. So that was an interesting bit because we didn't expect that, in the midst of all of this. Yeah. And one day while we were at church there, that someone broke the fence. I believe that was someone who was Catholic.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
So they were very in opposition of evangelical Christians.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't like the evangelical Christians, and some Catholics, as much as we understood that they bring like an animal offering. That was back in the time. So their sins to be forgiven. That's what they believe.
Yeah. Wow. So obviously you've gone out. You've said, okay, then that's what it is that you wanted to do, go on missions and stuff. Were you sort of like expecting that? How did you thought that it would go when you first started off? I think, was it Kyrgyzstan was your first mission trip? And obviously you've got various other others as well, including Africa, but we won't touch on those this week. Yeah. We'll continue next week and touch on those. But how did you sort of like thought that you would have come into that sort of aggression or opposition, or what were your thoughts?
Yes, we watched the news prior going to East Timor when we were in Brazil. And when we were interceding, we were having visions. That some of the visions were kind of warning that, you got to be ready to pay the price. So we kind of
That's like a sermon that was preached last week about Paul. Okay,
Yeah.
Karen. Yeah.
So we were like, Lord, yes, we are ready. We want to be salt and light there. That's what matters. And we prayed a lot. We intercede, and we wanted to hear directly from God what He was having for the people there. It was wonderful that some students from the University of East Timor, they became Christians.
Yes.
Others, they were just so touched to see instruments. Some of them did something that for us here we're so blessed when you think that you got all this advanced technology, gadgets.
It's true.
And instruments.
We take things for
Well,
granted, don't we? Because we've got it in surplus, so we do take it for granted.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I've imagined the worst in a way, but I think when I went there, it was a shocking experience.
Yeah.
We were showering with a bucket. When in Africa you get to experience this in some places, but
Yeah, in Jamaica too. Yeah.
we were showering with a bucket, and they were cooking for us in the Wyvern base. But then when we went to this village called Eberek, which is 10 hours away from the capital where there's no water, electricity, we needed to push the jeep up the hill. There's no way to communicate with the people there.
What do you mean, push the jeep up the field? What happened?
The jeep, there was so much rain and mud, and obviously the roads are not made there. So for all of our luggage and for all of us to reach the final destination, we needed to push the jeep. So that was adventurous. So we started.
This is Renaissance Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started cutting some branches and putting some branches on the road to be able to push the jeep
To
forward.
get a grip.
Touch
Yeah.
and lives, renewing minds,
Wow.
impacting nations.
All this to go and share the gospel, right?
Yes.
And yet still we've got it so cozy and we can't be asked to do anything about it, really. Wow.
No.
Wow. So I guess you didn't actually see that coming, that you'll have to go through all that.
No. Not at all.
In that
It was
moment,
a
what were your
life-changing-
thoughts? What do you think at that point? What was going on in your mind? Do you think that, gosh, have I made a mistake? What happened? What's going on at that point?
Yeah, I think this was one of the most adventurous missionary trips I had.
Wow.
I traveled to other places which I didn't get to mention today in Eastern Europe, went to Ukraine, but in East Timor particularly, you literally got to stop mourning if you're mourning about the conditions
Yes,
because you've chosen to be there, and
exactly.
you have to experience the reality and be salt and light and be grateful for every single thing, because there are actually people around you that they live life and you don't hear those people crying or mourning
Amen.
or complaining. Yeah. So appreciate the little things in life.
Yes, yes, yes. That is so true.
Count them as blessings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Just want to say good evening to the listeners that have joined us later on in the show. Good evening to you guys. Good evening. I know we're winding down now, but good evening to you guys. I've seen you online. My gosh. So obviously, you've gone out to this place. So what are your thoughts? Because in terms of mission nowadays, and you obviously there's a lot of young people that usually go on these missions and travel to different places, but nowadays you don't really hear much of that. When you went, there was quite a lot of young people with yourselves and stuff that was on that particular mission or in that cohort and stuff. So now, because to be honest, when you spoke about youth with a mission, I've heard of it, but I've never really paid attention to what it is that that particular organization does. So it's interesting for you to come and share with us sort of like some of your experiences and stuff. Do you think that there is a place for more of that now?
I believe so. However, I think God told us to be a salt and light, and He brought the missions to the UK. There are so many nations. He brought the nations to the UK, and if you want to reach out to people or places, there are so many opportunities. You only need to, I would say, ask God. Step out of your comfort zone.
So ask God, step out of your comfort zone, yeah.
And then do what He asks you to do.
And do what He asks you to do. So first we've got to make sure that it's right and it's what God is saying. And step out of our comfort zone. My gosh. Okay, because it sounds as if you're definitely out of your comfort zone in some of those scenarios that you've shared with us, isn't it?
Yes.
You pushing a vehicle in a village without lights and all of that stuff. Bet you never see yourself doing all of that previously.
No.
But no, we give God thanks. So obviously we're wrapping up this evening. You're back next week where you can share loads more with us. And so this evening, what would you like to leave with our listeners?
Sorry, say again.
What would you like to leave with our listeners this evening? What would you like them to take away from what you've shared?
I would encourage you to believe in God, to believe in your dreams, to believe in the impossible, and to obey God because of love. Because of love to Him. And dare to step out of your comfort zone. Because when you go through challenges, or like if you live out of your comfort zone, you can experience transformation that comes from the inside out. And the more important thing is that you impact the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And you will see actually this was worth, because He has called me, He made it possible. And this life is lived once on this earth. So I think let's leave a mark behind us.
Wow. Absolutely well said.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations.
And not only that, He says in Mark 16 that we should go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So irrespective of where they are, what their circumstances are, and how you're going to reach them, they need to hear the gospel just the same like us. So obviously we're just winding down now. Thanks to everyone who has joined us in the latter part of the show. Sister Datlin all the way over there in sunny JA. Just want to send a massive shout out to you, my dear sister. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Bacola, Tamika, also. My sister Natalie, all the way in Florida. Massive good evening to you. Mama Reva, all the way over there in sunny Jamaica, also. Good evening to you. Michael and Sharika, Joseph, good evening, good evening, good evening. No, Sister Lania, Missionary Lania, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us this evening. It has been a blessing. And I think you are the first missionary that has actually come on this show anyway. But it's a pleasure having you here this evening, and I look forward to next week when you share more with us. You know, it's just interesting how God sends you out. He gave you language. He's blessed you with language to communicate with those people that he sends you to. And every step of your journey that you've took it out with faith. So hence the reason why this evening's show was titled Audacious Faith, because sometimes we've got to just walk out and do what God tells us to do. So thank you so much for being on here this evening. It's a pleasure having you, and we're looking forward to next week as well as we wrap it up and as you share more of your missionary experience and stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel honored and blessed everyone who's been able to hear this show tonight, and I hope you feel blessed.
Yes, certainly. Thank you. Well, guys, obviously, you've heard it from Missionary Lania herself.
Impacting nations.
Same as our God has used her in various different places, in Kyrgyzstan, in Brazil, and also across Europe and Africa, and different things that God has used her to do. I'm sure all of us have got a call in. He said we should go into the world. So don't sit there and say that, you know, there isn't a part for me to play. There is a part for you to play, whether or not we're in denial, or whether or not we accept it. But similar, obviously, some of the journeys, they're not going to be pleasant. They're not going to be nice. However, who says that they would be? Even when Jesus walked the earth, there was issues there. So, guys, just be encouraged. Lovely to have you here this evening. Thank you for joining us. And obviously next week we're back as well. And Sister Ilani will join us as well and wrap it right up for us. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a blessed weekend, guys. And I'm just going to leave you with this song this evening. And you hear it right here, right here.
Touching lives, renewing minds, impacting nations. This is Renaissance Friday.
Have a blessed weekend, guys. See you.
Can you see what the Lord has done? What we waited for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done. On your wedding day, you're going to sing that. Can you see what the Lord has done? When you walk into that property, can you see what the Lord has? When that healing happens, what we've been praying for, He has brought to pass. See what the Lord has done. Just sing it to someone. Sing. See what the Lord has done. Can you see? See what ears have heard. I have seen what the Lord has done. The pain we have been waiting for, He has brought it to pass. Hey, see my eyes, see my sound. Hey, see what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done. It's a marvelous thing. It's a glorious thing. What I've been waiting for. Hey, He has brought it to pass. I am. Hey, see what the Lord. Come and see. Julia will sing this song. Sing it with faith in your heart. See what the Lord has done. Oh, lift your hands and worship. What we waited for, Nigeria. See what the Lord has done. Lift your hands and declare it. See what the Lord. Let's declare it one more time. See what. Can you see the healing? He said it and He did it. Lord, it's hurrying. Wait for it. For it shall come to pass. See what the Lord. One more time. One more time. What we waited for.
On Fire Radio. Anytime, anywhere. On Fire Radio.
Fire burning in my soul.
Anytime, anywhere.
Fire burning
anywhere. On Fire Radio, anytime, anywhere.